So you guys know those highboy sprayers we have, the John Deere 6000, technically high cycle sprayers, the ones that did this and this and this? Well, yeah. So we kind of modified one a bit this winter, and I've been hiding it from you guys for a while because I wanted to make a dedicated video on it, and it's scary. So for those of you who don't know, the highboy sprayers are three-wheeled sprayers that sit really high so you can spray in tall corn. However, last year we had some issues with them not being tall enough and us actually green snapping the corn, as you can see here in this video clip. So I think the main problem is that the corn, I mean, these things were made in the 70s and 80s, right? My highboy was made, it was like one of the first ones off the line, is a 70 something, and I think my brother's is maybe in early 80s. But basically, the problem is that since then, corn has gotten so much taller that the clearance in these things isn't very good anymore. So we fixed it. I don't even know where to start with this thing. Okay, now for those of you who are looking at like, Carson, what the heck, I don't see anything. Let me show you this. This is my highboy, right? Here's my tire. It hits me right in the hip, right in the belt. Now, here's my brother's highboy. You see the difference? So this is 100% my dad and my brother's idea. I had nothing to do with this because, frankly, this just took our scariest piece of equipment and made it 8 times scarier than it was. So they put these giant tires on the thing. They're so big, we even had to modify the ladder to fit around the dumb tires. And now it looks like the thing's, have you guys seen like the Carolina squat pickups, like Whistling Diesel's new one that sits up like this? Well, this sprayer sits like the opposite. It sits down. I mean, it's kind of going uphill right now, so it's hard to tell. But like, you see how this sprayer sitting nice and even, nice and flat with the ground? And then there's this one. It's just like, pfft. It's probably a lot harder to tell in video, but like, it's pretty drastic. All right, so I brought a tape measure out here to show you guys the amount of clearance we have now, because, well, I'm 6 foot tall and I can't even jump and touch the booms. So I Googled it earlier. A brand new highboy, what was it, like S12 or something, has 107 inches of clearance with the boom. Is this magnetic? No. And this has like 115. So the boom is 6 inches higher than a Hagie, and it had 74 inches of clearance with the chassis. And this one has 76. So we are officially taller than a Hagie. And here's the man who built it himself. What? Yeah, your hydraulics were squealing like a pig. But I got the boom up. Okay. I was showing them your creation. Oh. Your death trap.
Yeah, that thing looks... I think we need to jack the front end of that thing up a little bit. It's gonna be scary. Imagine falling in a tile ditch with that thing.
I'm glad this is yours and not mine.
Yeah.
I will gladly take that. I mean, I'm going like 9 miles per hour through the field right now. It already feels like I'm at the Daytona 500. You're gonna be going 13.
13, yep.
So we went and test drove this earlier with GPS, and this thing goes 20 miles per hour down the road. With 3 wheels.
You're not taking the tank off this one, are you?
No, I'm gonna take the tank off mine.
Okay.
But your only saving grace is your front suspension, really.
Yeah. Yep. I think you can put Dad and I were talking about jacking the front end up and putting a inch or 2 plate right there.
Okay.
That would help it even out a little bit.
Yeah, it's hard to see in the camera, but it's definitely sitting downhill hard.
Yeah.
When you sit, even just driving around, I felt like I was going to fall through the front window.
Else?
No, I should be good. All right, so in order to take my tank off, all I gotta do is take this 4 back bolts off.
Yep.
And pull it out. Okay.
And then you take the.
Yeah, the hose is off.
There's 2 hoses.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, I'll get to that in a little bit.
Okay.
I'm replacing. All right. See ya. I'm replacing the pump on mine. I'm gonna bring you guys with me, but I had to show you this first. I should also mention quick that we did make custom brackets for the booms as well on both mine and this one. So the booms are actually sitting higher stock before the tires. So the whatever 115 inches I think I said is with the tires and the boom extensions. So mine, I can actually touch my boom if I jump, but my boom is sitting at like 103 inches. And my clearance is like 102 inches. So what did I say, 106? No, wait, no, 70. Whatever I said earlier, I don't even remember. I'll put the math here to show you how much higher his is than mine, but yeah. If there's gonna be a farming accident this year, it's gonna be with this thing. This thing's terrifying. Like, fold it up. Look at how stupid high those booms are. If the combine wasn't in the back of the shed, I'd bring her S780 out with the 650 bushel grain tank extensions, because folded up and the boom's all the way up, I honestly think that the booms are higher or taller than the grain tank. No, in fact, I think I know they are. Here's the reason why. In order to get our combine in the shed, we have to unfold the grain tank extensions, like the top like 6 inches of it, right? In order to get it in the shed, and it barely fits. In order to get that sprayer in the shed, we have to lower the booms all the way and unfold them. So I'm almost guaranteeing with the booms all the way up that it's taller than the S780. It's just stupid. It's stupid and genius at the same time. All right, so as Chris alluded to, on my highboy, so the hydraulics on mine are absolutely terrible, okay? Like, you can be sitting there revved all the way up and you start to unfold the booms and it's like, it's terrible, okay? So, turns out that they made a high capacity oil pump and a normal capacity oil pump. I have the normal capacity or low capacity, whatever you want to call it. So I went to Worthington Ag Parts, which is like a salvage dealer for ag equipment, and I got myself a used high capacity oil pump because my uncle who farms, who also has one of these, replaced his oil pump, and he said that it made it such a big difference that he can now fold his booms at idle, which is something I cannot do. So I'm going to go ahead and replace that. We also have some other parts coming for it. It turns out we have a poly tank like this for it, and we've had it for like 5 years. My dad never told me about it, but it turns out we have one. So I bought some metal harnesses to hold this poly tank on my sprayer, which is a lot bigger deal than you may think, because if you look, the poly tank has a sump underneath it, and that one does not. So when I run out of chemical with my stainless steel tank, there's still like 20 gallons left in the bottom, which makes switching chemicals a pain in the butt, and then I can't spray as much and you're losing time and efficiency. Anyway, so I have a new poly, we have the poly tank, I have brackets coming for it, and then also my hydraulic levers are starting to get pretty worn out, so I have a new one of those coming as well. But I have the pump today, so we're gonna go ahead and do that. But in order to take the pump off, you gotta take the tank, you gotta slide it back, and this is the pump right here. So we gotta take the bolts out, get it off the belt, take all the fittings off, put the new one on, and we should be good to go. And hopefully it works. It's guaranteed to work, but I think that their guaranteed to work policy is if it doesn't work, you get a different one, which I really don't want to do. So hopefully this one works. I just saw something completely off topic, unrelated, but do these things not look like the tractors from Cars that like Lightning McQueen and Tow Mater tractor tip? Like, never thought of that. First thing first, kind of hard one-handed, the quick disconnect off the battery. If you guys have older equipment that sits for a majority of the year, these little quick battery disconnects, absolute lifesavers. Okay, so apparently there's 2 bolts on each side here that hold the tank on, and then it just slides off. So my plan is just take those bolts off, hook it up to the telehandler, and just slide it back. It doesn't need to go far, probably to about here-ish, so that way I can get in and work on that pump a little bit easier. So I actually don't know a whole lot about hydraulics, other than the fact that like there's a pump obviously, and then oil gets pushed in one side, and then it pushes the cylinder out, and then it gets pushed on the other side unless it's a gravity fed one. But next year at college, at SDSU, I'm taking a class called, I think it's hydraulic fluid power or something like that. And it's gonna be the new Raven building where we get our own lab, like our own big room just full of hydraulic equipment. Like everything up the wazoo. And apparently the class goes really in depth, so I'm really excited for that.
I went by your house, what a big mistake. But for a while I thought that I wouldn't break. I need something else to clear my head. Someone to tell me how to live instead. Just open your eyes and take my advice. Stop rolling the dice and just compromise. It's the chance of your life. Okay, try to be brave. You have so much to save. Take control of your own life.
Well, that went extremely easy, just slid right out. I have all this room now, and I was told to replace my belts if they look pretty bad, and they don't look too great. All right, so I'm gonna start here by removing the hydraulic hoses. So there's 1, 2, 3. I'm pretty sure this is the one that feeds the pump. So I'm gonna have to take a vice grip or something and clamp it off, or find a way to plug it so that it doesn't pee oil all over the floor. And then once I get those off, I'm gonna have to take the pump off. I'm gonna have to change the fittings over to the new pump, and I should be able to put it back on, and it should work. But see, now the belts are pretty bad. This might become a 2-day job. Not for sure yet.
Right now, every mistake makes you feel like a fake. Take control of your own life. Without any thought, I keep moving on. I don't even care if my soul is gone. So many words that I should have said. Not concerned about how to live instead. Just open your eyes and take my advice. Stop rolling the dice and just compromise. It's the chance of your life. Okay, try.
Well, I've put a plug in the end of all these, except for this one, which I pinched off, and they're all still dripping. So not only have I made a little bit of a mess, but we are gonna have a very smoky exhaust when this is all over. But everything's off the pump, pretty easy. Now I just gotta take the pump off and put the new one on.
Be brave. You have so much to save. Take control of your own life. Right now, every mistake makes you feel like a fake. Take control of your own life. Nothing in life is good. Tied in this.
Ran into my first snag. So on the new pump, it has this fitting, which has this end on it. Now the original pump had this. If you put them side by side, you'll see that the threads on the new one are a lot bigger than the threads on the old one. So I had to make a quick hardware store run, and grab myself this elbow, which has the correct fitting on each end. Okay, I got the new pump in. I had a little hiccup, because if you notice, this pump has a big square bracket and a big pulley, whereas this pump has a tiny little pulley and kind of a trapezoidal bracket. So I had a really hard time getting it in there at first because the trapezoidal bracket is designed to go in front of this angle iron here. And I couldn't get it to fit in for the longest time. And I was like, well, obviously it's not compatible with this thing. And then I went and looked at my brother's sprayer, which actually already has a high capacity pump on it. And it was set up to go behind. So now the only difference is I need a little bit longer belt to go around the big pulley, which I should be able to get tomorrow. Can't get any more because it's like 7 o'clock now. So I will have to pick this back up later.
48 hours later.
Okay. It's back together after hours of battling and, just don't even want to talk about it. Anyways, the John Deere belt was a 43-inch belt. Too short. We went and bought a 43-inch belt. Fits perfect. So, don't know what's going on there. But I now have hydraulic oil. We have all the belts on. I should be able to start it and see if the hydraulics move, and then we can put it back together, the tank back on, and we should be able to move it. So I'm just gonna set you back here. I was able to lift the booms at idle. Never been able to do that before. All right, with the old hydraulic pump, one of the biggest problems that I had was not being able to fold the booms up, even at full throttle, if I was pointed downhill at all. I had to be pointed uphill in order to fold the booms up. So, I'm sitting at idle right now. Now the right boom has always been slow, and it still is. But let's just see if it goes up at all. Okay, that's a good sign. I do them both at the same time. I can fold both booms up at the same time while idling. Oh, never mind. That one stopped. But I can still fold them up while idling. So we are worlds ahead of where we were before.